Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Bayishim, Barakah Kudash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bayishim, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Raya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in 2nd Esdras chapter 9 verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, which is what the men of the Lord are doing by constantly staying in these scriptures and looking at the news and filtering the news through the scriptures to let you people know what times you're living in. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, for all the wickedness that you people have been committing on it, chiefly 2/3 of you Israelites, or so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are hard-headed and refuse to return unto your power, and you Edomites, or so-called white people, who have terrorized the apple of the Most High's eye, the children of Israel, and who have turned this planet into a global dumpster. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And if you have that spiritual eye salve, you can clearly see that the end is manifesting right before us. We're in the beginning of sorrows with these wars and rumors of wars, nations beginning to rise against nations, kingdoms beginning to rise against kingdoms, famines, pestilences, and as it says in verse 3, earthquakes, which are happening all across the planet in diverse places, damn near every day, and uproars of the people in the world, which is what I'll be dealing with in this video. I'll be playing several clips to show that even amidst this coronavirus lockdown, people are still protesting against their governments for all the corruption, and because they're sick of the fact that their so-called elected officials don't have their best interests at heart and are just following the dictates of their puppet masters to push forward this new world order, which plays into 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. And when you look up the definition for the word sedition, it means conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against their ruling authority or monarch, protests, uproars of the people, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And your modern day kings and princes are these politicians, these mayors, these senators, these prime ministers, these governors, the president, etc., etc., and also the authorities that hold up the system, like your police and soldiers. And in those clips, you'll see people disregarding the coronavirus lockdown mandates, as well as clashing with police and soldiers. And whether this coronavirus lockdown is lifted or not, the sedition among men and disregard for their kings and princes will continue to the point to where people are going to be actively hunting their politicians and putting them to death. And it's especially going to be bad here in the United States with all these guns laying around. I did a video a couple of weeks ago on how a special National Guard unit was activated that deals with evacuating high priority political officials from places like Washington, D.C. in the event of civil unrest. Now I'm going to go to my first article on RT.com titled, Macron warns life won't be back to normal as COVID-19 forces French to find a new way of social distance protest. I'm going to skip around in this article. Trade unions have organized online protests as well as calling upon people to display banners and to bang pots and pans from their balconies to show support. Even if they don't want to go on the streets, people are still protesting against their kings and princes. Several small-scale demonstrations have been staged in front of several hospitals across the country, with the activists protesting against the government's management of healthcare and handling of the coronavirus crisis. A handful of protesters showed up in front of the Robert Debré Pediatric Hospital in Paris, displaying a banner and banging pots. A large banner reading "Hospital Attacked" by Years of Austerity was displayed overnight in front of another hospital in the French capital as well. A small group of left-wing protesters tried to stage a demonstration in the very heart of Paris at the Place de la République, defying the coronavirus restrictions. The group was promptly swarmed by police and several activists were detained.
Désolé, il y a qu'un truc qui se passe, il faut que tu sois dans le plan. C'est quoi? Lâchez vos banderoles et
That's it with this article. Things seemed rather benign, but back around March 15th, when these lockdowns were starting, people were still aggressively protesting against their kings and princes. This is a clip from RT's YouTube channel titled, "Don't Leave Your Belongings in a Car as Yellow Vests Protest May Get Fiery." And like I said earlier in the video, whether these lockdowns are lifted or not, these protests are going to get back to this same intensity, which is going to be a wet dream for the elites because it's going to allow them to more easily implement draconian martial law measures to keep the people in check. Order ab KO. Here's another clip from RT dealing with sedition among men, this time in Germany. Walpurgis Night protest, Berliners violate COVID-19 quarantine. I'm gonna mute it real quick because they've got some music and I don't want to get a copyright strike.
Ich bin bedroht.
And this is my last clip from Reuters. Lebanese protesters and soldiers clash in Tripoli. Uproars of the people.
Shots were fired and streets were lit ablaze in the Lebanese city of Tripoli on Wednesday. It marked a third night of unrest as protests fueled by worsening economic conditions rage across the country. Protesters threw Molotov cocktails at soldiers who answered with rubber bullets.
Disregarding
Lebanon
their
is one of
kings
the
and
world's
princes.
most heavily indebted states. The country's currency has collapsed, losing more than half its value since October. Inflation and unemployment have also soared, and some Lebanese say the economic crisis has been compounded by political mismanagement.
The economic collapse of the Lebanese pound would lead to this. People have lost their purchasing power and the state has no plan to do anything. Banks are closed and not giving money to people. I think this government should resign and leave.
Many protesters have taken out their anger on banks, burning storefronts and smashing ATMs, angry that they've been frozen out of their bank accounts. The crisis is widely considered to be the biggest risk since Lebanon's 15-year civil war. And now, the government-mandated coronavirus shutdown has only aggravated the worries of many.
People are dying anyway. I would rather die from coronavirus than from those members of parliament ruling me and killing me slowly.
Only a handful of Lebanon's banks have remained open during the shutdown. The Banking Association has now declared all banks in Tripoli to be shut until security is restored.
Now I'm going to close it out in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1 through 3. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Back in 2 Esdras chapter 9, measure thou the time diligently in itself. Again, the men of the Lord constantly staying in these scriptures and looking at the news and filtering the news through the scriptures. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. The men of the Lord going out there on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this to warn you Israelites of the times to come, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And sometimes in this truth, it may seem like these prophecies are taking their sweet time to come to pass. But as it says back in verse 3, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Our salvation is nearer than when we believed, Akim. This mayhem is going to happen before you know it. It's going to come like a thief in the night, which is why you want to constantly stay in these scriptures and have that fire in your spirit to be pushing this word as hard as you can so you don't get caught off guard in that day because you got weak in the faith and doubted that the Most High would make good on his word. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word, because we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathens, chiefly Esau, Edom. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.